Hello everybody, this is Super Sexy Rainbow Dash, aka Pyro from my Let's Plays, but kind of forgot to say that in the chapter.
You know, screw that, that's done and over with. Chapter 2 of the Scootaloo Diaries, entry Study Buddy. The sun was beaming and Rainbow Dash feeling more than a bit uncomfortable. She wiped another bead of sweat from her brow and stretched out her wings, allowing the faint breeze to glide beneath them and cool her body, if only a little. With a few quick flaps, she laid back down and got comfortable once again. She smiled and looked up, wondering what she might read next. Without further hesitation, she quickly opened the diary back up and flipped through the pages until she arrived at the next interesting entry. Blah blah, boring, boring. Ooh, nice. Rainbow's interest was caught. With a grin, she began to read. Today was awesome. Well, it started out bad, but ended great. Cheerily assigned every pony a study partner. Lucky Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle got paired, and I got stuck with Silver Spoon. Of course I protested. Hey, I'd rather be with snails than know-it-all Silver Spoon. And of course, Cheerily wouldn't hear it. I felt weird fighting with her anymore anyway, after what we did a few days ago. All I knew was I really needed to study my hardest to make sure I got an A on this next test. I couldn't let Silver Spoon's bad attitude get in the way. After class, I walked out with my buds, but we parted ways and I headed over towards Silver Spoon's house. She met me about halfway and we started talking. All she talked about was how sad she was that Diamond Tiara left to stay the summer in Manhattan early, and she couldn't even wait for the school to let out for the year. Then she said, "It really sucks. I really wanted to go stay the summer with her, but my dad wouldn't let me." He was like, "No, you can't miss 2 whole weeks of school just to go stay with your little friend all summer." I was like, "Why not?" He wouldn't hear it. Now I'm stuck with you as a study. You better not be dumb. You're not dumb, are you? She was annoying the heck out of me. I just rolled my eyes. I needed to be a long and awful studying, but I needed it. I'm not dumb, okay? I wanted to say so much more. I figured it would only make things worse. Good, and don't think you're replacing Diamond. She'll always be best friend. Once again, I was to roll my eyes. Like I'd ever be best friends with a gray little mule like Silver Spoon. Whatever, I don't care. Let's just hurry up and get inside. It's hot out here. Just tilted her nose ahead. I didn't care. I just followed her towards our house. While we couldn't take eyes off her cutie mark, I was watching it bounce and sway back and forth while we walked. It was pretty. I was jealous. I really wanted one, but whatever. I didn't have time to worry about the day. Staring at cutie marks. It's hot. I mean, what? At some point, she noticed me staring at her flank. What do you think you're looking at, you little weirdo? Nothing, sorry. I was embarrassed, but I forced myself not to blush. Then, there we were. Her house was huge! I'd seen it before, but I've never really noticed just how big it was. She pushed the front door open and I followed her in. It was nice and cool inside. I never thought I'd feel relieved to be inside Silver Spoon's house. She told me to follow her, then she headed up some stairs. I looked around for a minute. It was really weird inside. Lots of fancy stuff decorating the house. I wonder who her family is. I followed her upstairs and went into her room. It was 10 million times nicer than mine, and her bed was gigantic. Her dresser had a huge mirror attached to it, and there was even a fountain near the back wall. I was feeling good about this. It was cool to be somewhere really nice for a change. Then she talked and ruined it. So blank flank, you read our textbook out loud while I lay down and listen. We'll both get all the information we need that way. She had taken off her glasses before climbing into bed. She had no intention of reading anything with me. I ground my teeth and wanted to say something, but held it inside. How about we take turns quizzing each other and using these pre-tests Cheerily gave us? I kept my cool. I knew what I was doing. How about no? Do you want to fail the test? Is that it? What would your dad say? I needed to find something to motivate her. Do you really think I care? That's a laugh. It wasn't working. I knew there had to be something to get her motivated. And, by the way, I'm sorry if I'm butchering Silver Spoon's voice. I haven't heard her voice in, like, a long time, so whatever. I looked up at her. She was sprawled out across her bed, staring out the window with a frown. There was a picture of Diamond Tiara on a nightstand right next to her bed. Clearly, she missed her friend. I never realized just how close those two were. I decided to go out on a limb here, so I jumped on her bed and laid down next to her. Then we had an interesting conversation.
You really miss Diamond, don't you? Of course I do. What kind of stupid question is that? She was making this difficult. I just mean, I know how you feel. I had to go stay in Appaloosa for a summer last year. I really miss Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom. So I can relate is all. No, I was about... that was a lie. I just hoped I could get her out, open up to me. I was about to say, what's Scootaloo doing in Appaloosa? Problem solved. She stayed quiet for a minute, then let out a deep sigh. Yeah, you never realize how much your friends mean to you until they're gone. I didn't know I would be this lonely without her. It was working. Now all I needed to do was cheer up, and then we could get the studying started. You know, if you're lonely, you can always hang out with me. I realize we usually don't get along, but that could change. I think you're really nice and would like to be your friend. I almost gagged after saying that. I felt bad for lying to her face, but hey, a mare's gotta do what a mare's gotta do. Rainbow smiled. That's my girl, Scoot. I taught you that. A small sense of pride filled her heart as she turned the page and continued reading. Really? You think I'm nice? But I'm always so mean to you. This is really getting on my last nerve. I couldn't keep it up much longer. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you're usually a really sweet pony, you just don't always act that way. This was it. I was done after this. No more fake compliments. She rolled over and looked at me. I could see something strange in her eyes. At first I thought it was because she took her glasses off, but then I realized there was something more. She looked genuinely happier. So, are you ready to study with me or what? I hoped, but I doubted it. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't care about passing this test. I don't feel like studying. You can go study with someone else if you want. I'll be fine. I was angry. I wanted to yell at her, but something inside was keeping me from doing so. I couldn't explain it, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I thought for a moment. I knew she was sad about her friend being gone, so I needed to take her mind off that. If I could simultaneously take her mind off what was making her sad and motivate her at the same time, then I could get her to study. I don't know why I cared so much. I just felt like I needed to do this. Then it hit me. Cheerily. She successfully motivated me to study, and I was the last pony who wanted to study. I needed a way to try this method on her. Hopefully I just didn't freak her out and get kicked out. So, Silver Spoon, is there anything I can help to motivate you? I asked, raising my eyebrows in quick succession, hoping to get the point across. Should have added a little, if you know what I mean, under your breath. That's what I would have done. I'm not sure, but I think she immediately got the hint. I heard a gulp, then she said, like what? Well, I don't know. Was there anything you and Diamond used to do together that you didn't think you could do with any pony else? I really hoped if I was bucking at the right apple tree, so to speak, if you know what I mean. She blushed and looked away. You know what? I feel like studying after all. Hey, I wasn't about to complain. I was just glad to get the study train moving. Sweet, let's get started. I jumped off the bed and grabbed my stuff. She followed me down and we started working on her practice test sheets. It wasn't what I had hoped. She was doing a crappy job studying. Every time I asked a question, she just looked away and shrugged or sighed and said she didn't know. She didn't even try to answer or think about any of it. I had enough. She was wasting my time and the test was tomorrow. Look, we need to study and I need you to try. If I don't get an A on tomorrow, then... I almost blurted out my secret. Cheerily said if I told anyone at all, then she knew about it and I'd never get another prize again. I couldn't risk that. I just need an A, okay? And I need your help. I hated putting it that way, but it was true. Maybe I'm just a little too depressed right now. I don't know. Can I help you take your mind off Diamond? Maybe I can, help you relax? I really had no idea what I was saying. I mean, I've only ever had my first real kiss a couple days ago, when I was talking about this like it was nothing. What do you mean? What are you getting at, Scootaloo? I didn't know how to answer that. This was getting too awkward. I don't know. How about we talk about what's got you so depressed then? Maybe I can help. I had to change the subject. Well, I just miss her, you know that. Also, I'm pretty sad I don't really have any other friends. I know you really aren't my friend, and I just can't figure out why no one else likes me. Is it because of my stupid glasses? I wish I didn't need them. She was probably fishing for compliments, but I didn't care. Whatever it took to cheer her up was fine with me. It's not your glasses. You just need to open up to ponies more often and stop being so mean to us all the time. I can take it. Others take it personally. Also, just saying, but your glasses are actually really... I stopped for a second, not sure I wanted to finish my sentence. Then I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I cleared my throat. They're actually really sexy. I hoped I made her feel good about herself. She blushed and narrowed her eyebrows. I was sweating even though it was nice and cool in her room. The anticipation was killing me. I had to know what she thought. Then, to my greatest relief, she broke a smile. Rainbow rolled her eyes and shook her head before turning the page. Come on, Scoot, confidence. You gotta show her you mean what you say. Sheesh. She cleared her throat and looked around, feeling a bit embarrassed about how easily absorbed she could become in such a simple story. You really think so? She asked. I knew then I liked where this was going. Definitely, you're probably one of the prettiest mares in class. Okay, fine, you are the prettiest mare in class. The glasses are just icing on the cake, making those awesome purple eyes of yours really stand out. At this point, I think I wanted to kiss her, just because she was really cute, and I guess I never really noticed without looking for it. You have awesome purple eyes too, Scootaloo. She seemed even more nervous than I was, which I think is a good thing. Did I just say watch? Never mind. Kinda forgot about studying for a while. Instead, I sat my papers down and trotted up to her. I put my hoof on the bottom of her chin and made her look up at me. She didn't resist me touching her or anything, so I could only assume she wanted me to touch her. I leaned in closer. My heart was sinking. She stared back up at me. Her eyes were wide and showing off a timid side of her that I'd never seen before. Our noses touched, and she closed her eyes. I could feel her warm breath licking my cheeks as I pressed forward. This was different from kissing Charlie. Silverspoon had no confidence. I was in complete control, and I had no idea what to do. Once again, I just went with my gut. I pressed my lips up against hers and felt her shudder. I wondered if she had ever kissed Diamond before. I wasn't sure, and I knew it should have been the last thing on my mind at the time. I wrapped my forearm around her neck and pulled her in tighter. She kept her eyes closed, and to my surprise, she parted her lips and pulled me over on top of her. I could feel her hooves running down my back and beneath my wings. It was really exciting. I couldn't believe this was happening again, especially with her. I knew this could be good practice for when I got to be with Shirley again, so I needed to take advantage of it. I decided to experiment in any way I could think of. Just try to think of things and see what worked. I pulled away from her and crawled up to her ear. I bit down on it as softly as I could, and I felt her body press up against mine just then, so it must have felt good. I stuck my tongue inside and licked all around, letting my teeth brush up against the back of her ear. Her shoulder was pressing up against my jaw. I knew she loved it from the sound she was making. I'd definitely use that on Charlie next time. I suddenly felt her bite down on my neck. It made the fur on my spine stand up. It was amazing. She kept biting and sucking at different spots. It was all tingly and it almost made me giggle. Her kisses and sucking started moving lower and lower as she wriggled down beneath me. I didn't stop her. I desperately wanted to know what it felt to be licked down there. This way, it wouldn't be such a surprise after class tomorrow. I arched my back and leaned to make room for her. Before I knew it, she was between my legs, kissing along my lower stomach. It almost felt like she was teasing me at the time. Now I think she may have just been nervous and working up the will to go all the way down. Next, I gasped loudly. A strong lick went straight up the center of my legs. She did it. It was probably the best thing I'd ever experienced. I could feel her tongue swirling all over me. I'd like to think she enjoyed the taste. My eyes rolled up in my head when she stuck her tongue inside. I can't even describe how amazing it felt. Like the most awesome tingling pleasure imaginable shooting through my entire body. I placed my hooves on the floor next to her head and pressed my hips forward instinctively. Her tongue went in deeper and I started making embarrassing noises. I couldn't control myself. They just came out without me thinking about it. I told her how much I loved it and begged her not to stop. I couldn't help but think she's done this before because she seemed too good at it for it to be her first time. Her teeth were rubbing up against the spot I usually touch at night when I'm alone at night, but the tongue inside felt way better. This is getting weird. I know I've already read halfway through the story, I think, or about a quarter, but reading it out loud is just so different. I'm going to have to figure out a way to put something inside of me next time. I'm imagining Rainbow doing that to me. See? It's things like that. It's sentences like that. Rainbow Dash set the book down. A cocky grin crept its way onto her face. I knew it. Suddenly, I began to feel something. I was about to come. My face was probably completely flushed. I can't even remember all the crazy things I said. All I know is that it was by far the most intense orgasm I'd ever had. I bit down on both my front hooves and closed my eyes. I could feel myself pouring out across her muzzle, and then I heard her giggle. Wow, Scoo, you're a lot faster than Diamond. I'm honestly still not sure whether that's a compliment or an insult. Thanks, was all I said. She giggled again and wiped her face off with her front hoof. Then she rolled me over and started kissing me. I could taste myself on her tongue, and it was surprisingly exciting. Now it's my turn, right? She asked, and I was actually looking forward to tasting another mare. It was really fun. Of course, when I get in bed first this time, I laughed, hoping to keep her feeling lighthearted. She nodded and climbed into bed. I followed. Silver Spoon was lying on her back, and she sensually licked the tip of her. Silver Spoon was lying on her back, and she sensually licked the tip of her hoof and began running it down her chest. It was the sexiest thing I'd ever seen. I wanted to taste her. I made my way between her legs and started licking the same way I did Charlie. She liked it. I could feel her squirming beneath my tongue, and she was squeaking and moaning, which almost got me off again on its own. Then she pushed my head away. Wait, I want you to do something. I was confused and just nodded. She reached over and pulled a blanket over us. I want you to do this. I wasn't sure what she was getting at, but I let her guide me. She pulled me on top of her again, but she positioned me so that I was sitting on her face and mine was between her legs. I was open for anything, so I enjoyed it as much as I could, which was a lot. I loved feeling her nose tickling me while she licked all over my thighs and my already dripping crotch. At the same time, I was going all out between her legs, causing her to jerk around and gasp. It didn't take too long for her to come. I felt her back hooves pressing my... Oh, that's supposed to say my, I think. I felt her back hooves pressing my head down tightly against her as she pulsed and writhed. Exhausted, I rolled off of her and turned around to lay next to her in bed. It was warm under the blankets, and she wrapped her hooves around my back and held on to me. Thanks for helping me feel better, you really are my friend, Scootaloo. That was good enough. I was just glad she would want to study now. I let out a deep yawn. No problem. I really, really like cheering you up. Yum. I quietly chuckled and lost track of time. Before I knew it, I was asleep and neither of us woke up until late in the evening. I never did get to study with her. I had to rush home before I got in trouble, and even now I haven't studied yet. I tried, but I can't take my mind off her. This is bad, I think. I still want that A, so I'm gonna go study now. Scootaloo, signing out. Rainbow closed the book in her eyes. She couldn't help but feel that Scootaloo was setting herself up for trouble in the future. She looked at the dates of the entries in this diary. The first one she read dated back to nearly a year ago. She wondered how everything had worked out. Before reading on, she took a deep breath and considered the influences she'd been having on her young admirer. The sudden sense of responsibility didn't last long. She laughed and opened the book back up, then began flipping through the pages once more.